Anyway, 76 B-Ball, I'm back at it again with another video for you. Today I've got the full performance review on the Brandblack Future Legend Low. So let's not waste any time and let's jump into things. I always let you guys know about the hours of usage. So for this performance review, it's 13 hours of use. I wanted to get to 16, but just how things go with the weather and timing and family, I didn't get to 16. Sorry about that. It's a 13-hour performance review. So the breakdown on those 13 hours, I had 5 hours outdoors, 4 hours on a really clean court, and 4 hours on a dusty court. Like, we're talking ice rink. So yeah, that's the usage there, and let's see how it performed. Alright, so here's the shoe. It's a beautiful looking shoe. I am somewhat, in favor of black shoes, so that's what I went for. But there are a number of other awesome colorways on the website. But anyways, let's start off with the traction. Have a look at the traction pattern. Very, very interesting. Just a number of identical shapes running the entire length from toe to heel. And the great thing is the amount of space between all of these nubs. It never really seemed to collect dust after I finished playing. Look at the shoe, underneath, and it seemed very like clog-free type of thing. There wasn't a lot of debris in there, and there wasn't a lot of dust sticking to the rubber. So yeah, so that's the first thing I want to talk about with the traction, is the spacing. The second thing is not so much the compound or the softness or hardness, but just the fact that it seemed like these little nubs really sometimes you could feel like it was literally biting the court, which is a great thing. So that could only translate into great traction, you know what I mean? So that was a nice standout feature of the traction alone. It's just these little shapes. I could feel it biting the court, so that was awesome. And well, anyways, let's talk about the surfaces. So when I was playing on a pristine court, I don't have to say much. It was biting. I never had to think about it. Hard cuts, etc. Backpedaling, changing directions, whatever the case may be, no problems with traction there. Now, always the question is, the big question mark, is on the dusty court. And I'm lucky enough that when I do get to my Saturday night court, more often than not, that court is an ice rink. So that's really where I like to test the shoes. So how did this fare? Well, in the past, in some of the other shoes that I play in, usually when I play on that Saturday night court, I usually have to wipe about 2-3 plays or so. This was awesome because this shoe, I still had to wipe, okay? I still had to wipe, but I only had to wipe like maybe 4 or 5 plays. It's definitely a notch or two above some of the other shoes that I play in. So that's a great sign. That's a great sign for traction, if I'm only wiping 4 to 5 times. So I never had any situations where I slipped out or anything like that, but just, you get back on defense, you take a second or two to quickly wipe the shoes, and then you're good to go. So that's what it was like on the dusty course. Pardon me, sorry, on the dusty courts. Now, how about outdoors? Well, I only played 5 hours on the outdoor court. Some of you that follow me on Instagram will know I do a lot of 5 a.m. sessions, so I do a lot of shooting practice and whatever the case may be. Sometimes some of the younger guns will show up and we end up playing 2-on-2 or 3-on-3. So traction on the outdoor courts was not a problem whatsoever, but would I recommend it for outdoors? No, I wouldn't recommend it for outdoors. I think they would probably, like I said, those little shapes, those little nubs, will probably get chewed up and wear off after X number of hours, okay? So that's that for traction, guys, and let's jump over to the cushioning. Okay guys, cushioning now. This was another standout feature for me. This was my first experience in black foam. They have used black foam in previous models, but this is my first experience with it. I'm so accustomed to the Jetlon Plus that are featured in the rare metals. A lot of you know that's my go-to shoe, my #1 shoe of all time. So I was really excited to see what's the difference between the two, and would I be satisfied with black foam? And easily the answer is yes, for sure. So Black foam cushioning is extremely comfortable. I do remember clearly the very first time I put these on and my first few steps. I was like, oh yeah, okay. And it is a different feeling than Jetlon Plus, and I'm gonna do my best to articulate the difference to you. But before I do that, I just quickly want to say, playing in black foam cushioning, warming up, whether it be just like, just a couple shots here and there, maybe just jogging and up and down the court, like warming up, the black foam cushioning it's on point, man. It's totally on point. It's extremely comfortable. And so what is the difference between the black foam and the Jetlon Plus? The best way I could describe it, guys, and I mean, you gotta try it for yourself, but if I try my best to describe it to you, black foam seems to me maybe more of a rubber compound type of thing. It has more of a rubber bounce to it. And then when you look at Jetlon Plus, I think that's more, for me, that's more of like a foam, okay? So kind of like what I'm trying to say is black foam has more of a bouncy type of feeling to it, and then the Jetlon Plus is a little bit more of a cushy, somewhat squishy type of feeling, okay? Both cushioning systems are phenomenal when it comes to impact protection or impact reduction, whatever phrase you like to use. But I think it's just a slightly different feel. One thing that I found that I was really happy about with the Brandblacks too is I'm a type of guy that I need cushioning in the forefoot. That's kind of like somewhat why like Kobe 11 Elite didn't quite work out for me, or the Q4 495 was just oh so close but not quite there in the forefoot. I'm super stoked because I do remember clearly, getting up off the court for jump shots, coming down, landing on the ball of my foot. You can clearly feel the black foam, so that's another great point. Okay, so I hope I explained that clearly, guys. Like I said, more or less, you kind of got to try it for yourself, but cushioning on the Future Legend Low is outstanding. All right. Now, the next thing I'd like to talk about is stability. Alright, so stability in the shoe. Stability is pretty important for all, us basketball players and volleyball players and tennis players, lateral movements, north, south, east, west, whatever the case may be. So the first thing when it comes to stability, something that I prefer is just an absolute, flat base. I like that. Things like, what do we got, LeBron 12, LeBron 13, LeBron 14, they have all those paws and some of the zoom area, protrudes out more. And they're all fine, they do their job, but just my preference is a flat base and boom, there's no messing around with this shoe. So that's the first thing that, helps provide stability is just, having a platform that there's no if and buts, there's no teetering and tottering, it's just boom, it's flat. Maximize the contact with the court, okay? Now, next up would be the outrigger, which is very, very obvious. Like, look at that, boom, boom. And then if I turn it from this angle here, I mean, you can see it, it's very prominent right there. So having that outrigger, which is quite common on most shoes these days, just obviously gives you that feedback and that, the reaction time when you're cutting laterally, that, you have a firm plant and the shoe is not going to roll as you push off the opposite direction. So that outrigger clearly does its job. Now, when you go back to the rear of the shoe, you can see the heel counter, very, very obvious. It runs all the way around. That in combination with, lacing up your shoe properly, keeps your heel centered on the shoe. Had no issues there. There was no heel slippage, none whatsoever, whether it was, the first time I put it on or if it was hour 13. One thing that's kind of cool that I, just want to mention, at least the external heel counter is not overly stiff. Like, it's pretty flexible. I can squeeze the shoe in here. Even back here, it really isn't, did I say flexible? It's not really that stiff. It is flexible, but I have no issues with it when I was playing. So overall, guys, with the tooling, you've got the flat base, outriggers, the heel counter, the cushioning there with black foam. That bottom portion of the shoe, I was absolutely stoked on. Like, I love it. I love it. Now, the top half of the shoe, the top portion of the shoe, is somewhat of a different story. I kind of went both ways, and let me explain that. Okay, so let's talk about the upper. Okay, you've got a knit upper, and it is the first thing that jumped out at me when I opened this. I have the unboxing video. The upper is so thin, it's crazy. This knit upper is like, if I put my hand in here, like you can see my fingers, like that's crazy. There's no backing, it's just the knit. Even on the lateral sides here, you can see my finger right there. Look at that. So it's extremely, it's extremely thin. There's no backing, there's no additional structure to it, or sorry, no additional layers to it. And obviously, if you need breathability in the shoe, if you've got hot feet or feet that sweat a lot, here's a great option for you. So let's talk about the fit. I've got skinny feet. Most of you probably know that already. I would highly recommend, if you're really gonna try it and you've got skinny feet, definitely half size down. Average feet, borderline. A lot of people found it roomy in the toe box area. It wasn't too bad for me. Wide feet, definitely true to size. Okay, that's in terms of sizing and fitting. Now the problem that I have, I've stated in previous videos, I intend not to have too much luck with one-piece uppers. That is why I was intrigued about this shoe, because I had so much just great luck and great experience with Brandblack. I was like, what's their one-piece upper gonna be like? And that's one of the main reasons I went for it. And I still ran into the same problem. So again, having a low volume foot, tying up the laces properly, I do tie my shoes fairly tight. I still had slack and room above the foot here. I'll cut away to a picture that clearly shows that when I lace them up properly, the fabric just folds. It's not a one-to-one fit, and I could feel those folds on top of my foot when I was playing. So it didn't inhibit the performance, but it's just, it's kind of uncomfortable, so the fit was a little bit off. So, c'est la vie, you know what I mean? That's the life of having, skinny feet. Now, when playing, it did get better as time went on. However, there was one thing that I noticed, and I have a little bit of a reenactment here that I'm going to drop in. I was playing, it was probably, I would guess, somewhere around hour 6, hour 7 or so. I was playing, and I was backpedaling. I was on defense. 2 offensive players were coming at me, and I was backpedaling. In my backpedaling, I kind of faked to go one way, and then I pushed off to go the other way to try and get in the passing lane and to pick off the ball. When I was backpedaling and pushed off that foot to go the other way, unfortunately, my foot, my foot just did not stay locked down. So that was a major issue, backpedaling all your weight, going backwards and then thrusting it one direction, and didn't quite work out. So is that a knock against the shoe? I would say it's a knock against the shoe if you've got skinny feet. I would imagine if you've got average or larger volume type feet, you'd have a better one-to-one fit, and that probably would not happen. So I wanted to point that out. Hey, the weight of the shoe, it's not too bad. I'd say it's average. Again, you have such a stable platform. Black foam has a little bit of weight to it. There is the torsional shank in there. It's a little bit heavier than the rare metals, but again, when it's on your feet and you're playing, just simply, it's not a factor whatsoever. Alright guys, so let's move on to the next. Alright guys, so I wanted to talk about durability. I usually don't talk about durability too much in my reviews. One, I'm 140 pounds. I don't put shoes through like the grinder in terms of durability, and the testing process is usually 16 hours, which is enough time for me to get a good feel for the shoe. So for sure, who knows what the case is down the road, 20, 30, 40 hours. What I want to do say, for those 13 hours that I did play in these, there was something that I was very surprised about. When you look at the knit upper and how thin it is, it never stretched out. It kept its structure the entire time. So that's pretty impressive for me. For any of you who have the shoe, or you're able to get your hands on the shoe, and you really see how thin this thing is. Like, this is thinner than a lot of jogging shoes out there. It's nuts. Again, it has to do how tight or how loose the weave is in the fabric, right, in the knit upper. So of course it's going to be a tight weave along here where you have when you're pushing up laterally, and then it's, you know, a wide open weave on top of the foot and certain portions along the sides of the shoe. So that's impressive to me. Something that is this thin, but it didn't lose its structure, it didn't lose its shape, and it kept its form for over 13 hours. So that's a great thing in terms of durability of the knit upper. Now, the only thing that really kind of showed its wear and tear, I mean, not really wear and tear, is just that the heel counter gets scuffed up real easy. It's a matte black finish. So again, you know, it has nothing to do with performance. Of course, it'll still do its job, but if someone were to, you know, really wants to keep the shoes pristine looking, yeah, the heel counter will get scuffed up real easily. So, other than that, guys, you know, durability, I think it's a well-constructed shoe. It's good, great materials. Like I said, I don't know, extensive use on an outdoor court, you would probably see the tread wear down. But who knows, maybe you could probably get a solid summer out of them, I would say. Yeah, guys, so overall, the performance of the shoe, for me in my experience, besides the fit, because it's not a knock against the shoe, awesome. And why I say it's awesome, it's just all the tooling down here. The cushioning, the flat base, the traction, the support and stability was outstanding. Yeah, guys, so I had a fantastic time playing in this shoe. I just couldn't figure out a great combo here. Some of you may have known on Instagram, I messed around with socks and different insoles. The original insole and a Nike Elite sock ended up being the best combination for me. But that's just a little side note. Yeah, guys, that's my experience on the Brandblack Future Legend Low. It's probably, honestly, going to fall out of my rotation. I just can't get enough of the rare metals, and I've got the 2 new jigsaws here. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys. I hope you got a good sense of the shoe. I tried my best to explain that to you guys. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'm at, I don't know where I am, about 940 subscribers. I am striving for 1,000. For those of you who do check out the channel, thanks so much for your support. And I will catch you guys in the next video. But in the meantime, whether it's basketball, whether it's life, a job, school, do your best, guys. Stay on that grind. And don't forget, help others. Peace!